What's going on, guys? Long time no see. I'm Combat Craig, missing a cowboy hat, amongst other things. This is Raider X, and we're going to talk about some bullshit the government is doing. And what do you think about that?
Same old, same old. VA's always up to some way to screw the fucking veteran. Go figure.
Finally, God, I don't know how long it's been since I've been live. Cheers.
Cheers.
What the fuck? Why are you cheersing with a monster?
Because I'm diabetic, you fuck.
Isn't that a sugar thing? Like, can you get sugar from alcohol?
Zero sugar.
Okay, gotcha. No sugar. Oh, so you literally don't drink, huh? Simplify 1918 in the house. I haven't seen you on here, but I haven't been on here in like a year. Oh yeah, I have another. What was it? First of all, since we're talking about the VA, what does it say? Eat a dick or something like that? I thought that was kind of funny. Timu's good. All right, so enough bullshitting around. We'll put a link to the article in the description, and it's NBC, which I don't know about that as a source, but I guess they're all pretty fucked. Government has clawed back more than $2.5 billion given to veterans to leave the military, data shows. So to leave the military, are we talking early outs?
Yes. In this situation, yes, we are. We're talking early outs. There's two buckets, and we can talk about each bucket individually. But there's two buckets. There's the early out bucket, and then there's the here you got some minor injuries. We're going to throw you a little bit of cash so you don't file a claim against the VA for your disability.
You're missing the bucket that I got done. Because I had early out as an option, but they're like, we're going to fucking general discharge your ass, you little piece of shit. So there's that too.
Right.
So, go ahead.
So yeah,
No, the question was I'm trying to learn this conversation shit. So we're talking early outs. How about we hop into the where's the buckets? So the VA's trying to screw vets out of money they shouldn't be touching is basically what we're talking about here, right?
Correct.
I mean, just clawing back, like if they did something, it should stay that way. So they're just fucking being dickheads, which is whatever. So a part on this, and we're going to I'm probably gonna bounce around a little bit, or you want to hop in before I start fucking it
well,
all
the
up?
SSB bucket, the special separation bucket, which is the early out bucket, which came in the early '90s during the Clinton administration when they wanted to downsize and hey, we're trying to reduce the size of the force. Here's some money to kind of go away, so they're piecemealing it. But now
right on,
they
Anthony.
want back.
So is that so SSB? That is early out stuff, huh?
No, that's the SSB is your special separation benefit. There's also the bucket, which is your your
No,
VA
I mean if you get an early out, is that where whatever money comes from? Okay.
The early out comes from the special separation bucket. Correct.
And then disability severance pay is med boarded.
Correct.
And then the third option is we're just going to kick your ass out and pay you nothing. That happens a lot too.
Now, I'm not a lawyer, but if you do plan on filing benefits at some point in your lifetime, I would just reject any sort of money the VA wants to give you out the door because you're going to have to pay it back regardless.
They don't. Yeah, they're not going to break it off.
But I would politely decline any money that the
and
VA
look for that adjustment disorder early on because it's going to be there. It was in my case.
Correct.
All right. Actually, let's go since it's mental health month for me always. Adjustment disorder. Why is that not a good idea to have, or why is that kind of tricky if you're going to file a mental health claim?
Because according to the VA, and I should know as a former VA Raider, retired, that the VA classifies chronic adjustment disorder, one, a chronic disability, two, they consider a 6-month disability, so it's short term.
So how is it chronic, which is longer than 6 months, and
I
acute?
know it's an
That's it, because
oxymoron,
it's a fucking jerk off thing.
that's just the name of the disorder. In the manual, it's considered, chronic adjustment disorder with mixed anxiety and depressed mood. That's the most typical diagnosis you'll see. But I think
but it's like one of those loophole kind of ways they can save money way before you even turn into a veteran.
So you're going to want to if you get diagnosed with that and service connected for that, you're probably going to want to get off of that chronic adjustment disorder and kind of focus on either the depressive disorder or anxiety disorder that came along with a chronic adjustment disorder, and focus more on that.
This is what we're talking about right now. HT, we're talking about adjustment disorder, one you want to get off of. So let's talk about and we'll get to the article. We're going to be here for a while. So how do you get off? Like that happened, not how do you get off? You probably jerk off and do some whatever. You don't know what I want to do. This is turning gay. When you get off of adjustment disorder or don't get bipolar, you don't want that. How do you do that? I've had that question, or I haven't explained it very well. What does get off of that mean? It means get a doctor to write down anything other than adjustment disorder or bipolar and get off of that and just start disappearing it from your record. If you have to get a private doctor to do that, that's how you do it. Just make sure if you're just kind of listening to the VA employees do things and tell you things, you're just going to keep going the path of least resistance and they'll keep on that adjustment disorder. So challenge your doctor, get another doctor, go hire a doctor, right?
Here's the easiest way to look at it. Knowing that your adjustment disorder is a short-term disability and you have a long-term disability, you're going to want to, like I said, get either a depressive disorder or anxiety disorder, and your adjustment disorder, by the fact of longevity, is going to progress. So it's going to be your depressive disorder or anxiety disorder, PTSD, whatever you have.
Second. Hey, Robert, you could still work if you're on TDIU, if you're in a protected work environment. Check out my situation here. That's pretty protected. Anyway, moving on.
It's a progression. So when the VA sees a change of diagnosis, they're going to say, hey, is this new diagnosis of a anxiety disorder or a depressive disorder, or name the disorder, whatever it is. They're going to say, okay, service connection is established under adjustment disorder. Is this new diagnosis a progression of the service-connected disability? And more likely than not, it's going to be a progression, because now you're looking at you're
right.
Short-term
and due to the changing and subjective
disability
nature of mental health claims, if you show up with a new diagnosis, they're most likely going to consider it. So you could kind of steer it. I don't know if you could probably steer it easier than cancer and no cancer, right? Going up against subjective testing.
Well, that's black and white. I mean, cancer is pretty black and white. I mean, it can be detected. Cancer can be detected on, an X-ray or an MRI, or there's conclusive testing that they can do to determine cancer, whereas mental health is more subjective.
Yep. Maybe that's why it changes all the time. That's why every time I've gone in for a mental health increase or whatever, they change the verbiage up. Anyway, back out of the weeds. Yeah, adjustment. What are some other bullshit ones that you don't want? You definitely don't want bipolar. Why don't you want bipolar?
Bipolar, besides the fact it's a fucked up condition because of the roller coaster you're going to ride, because it's, peaks and valleys, manic.
Yeah, but we're not talking about how it makes you feel. It makes me feel fucked up. I just don't want that shit. I don't want that label on me.
A lot of times the bipolar disorder, those generally don't get diagnosed in service. A lot of times, your bipolar disorders, they'll say there's a little bit of genetics behind it.
So they're going down
Hereditary.
the pre-existing or
Yeah,
childhood or something.
it's best to steer away from that. Yeah,
So they're finding another way to blame it on something other than the military, basically, because this is all about money.
correct.
And that is what this is all about. It's all about money. And that's the biggest part that you got to get your head wrapped around. It's a pay to play game, and you're going out, you're filing a claim. You need to have medical evidence, which is a current diagnosis, current symptoms, and a nexus linking the disability you want to get paid for to your active duty service. You're going to go to a C&P exam, and it's by their guy. They're paying for it. We're not paying for it. Well, we're paying for it as taxpayers, but you know what I mean. So if
Hey,
you need medical evidence for your claim, my med team can help you out. There's a link in the description, and you can find it on combatcraig.com. And also, while you're there, join my boot camp. I break this stuff down so you understand what to focus on, and you don't want to be tripping over hundreds while you're picking up pennies. So there's my little sales pitch there. Moving on.
I was going to say there's a boot camp for that.
There is a boot
But
camp for that. All
you already went.
right, so we got the buckets part done. So let's see. So the VA is saying, and I don't know how if I'm going to really get off track here. The VA is going back to this article about clawbacks. The VA said it's legally bound to recover separation payouts from veterans before those eligible. Whatever, my own words don't make sense. So they say they're legally bound. So legally bound just seems like some kind of like bullshit kind of thing. Can't they unbind themselves?
Absolutely, it's their interpretation of the law. Back in
Right.
1945, they passed this law, which was 10 USC 1074A, I believe, was the law that was passed that talks about having to any money that's given out via the military, whether it be um, the uh, the newly created, in the early
Ooh, I might be
90s,
able to go over to the screen. Wow, fucking fancy.
uh, you know, that the SSB bucket, or back then in 1949, the disability compensation bucket.
Oh,
They're
19.
saying
All right.
they're saying that their interpretation is, well, the military paid it to you, so before we can pay you any disability pay, we're gonna recoup any money, whether it be disability pay or the get out early
They're always
pay.
looking for an offset. So Social Security.
Well, absolutely, because I mean, look at they're already what $15.2 billion in the hole. I mean,
Yeah,
since
yeah, no, I get it,
2014.
and I don't really give a shit about their financial situation because I'm sure they're fine. I'm worried about them taking over as our backup healthcare system when whatever happens.
Right.
There's also a double dipping component to this because there's multiple buckets. It looks like that's another kind of whatever. They'll make up their own rationale, and if they don't have that, they'll just lie and break the law.
I mean, we're already in a bad enough situation now. There's still another $364 million that's left to be recouped, but are they putting that on a pause? Hell no. They want to make up for that $15.2 billion shortfall. So they'll gladly try to go after veterans in this shitty economy for an additional $364 million.
Yep, that this guy says it right here. I felt like I've been used and abused. That sounds like my entire experience with the Department of Veterans Affairs. Yep, so
The
it gets
VA's
even
never
deeper.
the
Oh, here's
VA's
the
never
double
been a
dipping
fan if you're
part.
gonna reach around. I'll tell you that much.
Here's the double dipping part where it says veterans wage legal battles. Congress has prohibited service members from receiving two government benefits at the same time for the last 75 years. So this is one of those things that you may want to work around or fucking create a loophole or what like. if this is what you did, this is what you did. You have to kind of deal with it. So find out where the offsets are before you start receiving them. And yeah, it's kind of like, oh fuck, maybe they won't notice. They'll notice. They'll notice at the most inconvenient time for you, for sure. Still sucks. They don't need to notice and all that kind of stuff, but I kind of get it. So these two buckets here. So, all right, the special separation benefit (SSB), more acronyms. So that's the first one, and that's the early out kind of pile. And why would they need money there for early out? To make up for that sign-on bonus at the front end if they let you out or
No,
something?
it's the remember back in the early 90s they were encouraging early retirement, the reduction in force and all that kind of stuff. Here's some money to instead of having a 20-year career, here's a little bit of money to have a 15-year career.
Let me interrupt you. So how do I get this fucking screen? So shit. All right. Whoops. Other screen. And comment. So yeah, this is adding benefits. So this is where I didn't know. So ignorance is not an excuse, and they're not going to listen to it anyway. So I was married, and then I told the VHA, Veterans Health Administration, that I was divorced. All right, you're divorced. That did not transfer over to the Veterans Benefits Administration. When I filed my last claim, they're like, yeah, you were married, dude, or you were divorced, but you still got married pay because you didn't notify us. So you want to, it won't open up a claim. It's not a claims action. You do need to get your dependents dialed in and stay on top of it. If you have new kids or adopt them, new wife, there's a gain there. And then if you get divorced, don't be shy. Make sure and tell them as soon as possible, because they'll come clawing that money back too. So sorry, Raider X. I'm just kind of hopping into the comments here a little bit.
Basically, your career by not reporting it. And one hand, the VHA doesn't talk to the other hand, the VBA hand, unless it's absolutely necessary. So it's like you're having to do twice the work. But that being said, you're still getting paid for a benefit you shouldn't be receiving. It's up to you.
Or you may have a question about it. If you're not blowing smoke up your own ass, right? It's like, you may not know 100%, but there's a thought. Go look.
Right. So, I mean, once you fill out the paperwork to indicate, hey, I'm divorced, or hey, my 19-year-old college age dependent is no longer going to school, you need to report those things so that individual's taken off your award. Otherwise, you're receiving a benefit you are not entitled to.
And that's fucking bullshit. Because that walks into accidental fraud, maybe, but I mean, it's heading in that direction, and we don't condone that at all. Get exactly the penny that you're supposed to get, nothing more, nothing less. One lump. Yeah, we're talking about. All right. Let's keep going. 2 buckets, I think, or unless you can get back on track. Back to the screen. This is actually going pretty smooth.
It's like riding a bicycle.
This isn't like riding a bike. All right. Okay. So we're way down this page now, deep into the weeds on the collage. I think they're just using him. The VA's been withholding about $370 each month. That's fucked up. Is he in the Hundo Club? That would make it a little bit better. Okay. Hop in wherever you want.
No,
Secretary Dennis McDonough. That motherfucker's going to be gone soon.
He says it clearly in the article. That quote from him is, they're screwing tens of thousands of veterans out of money, and he's absolutely correct.
Right.
And of course, the VA, when it was asked for comment, we can't comment on individual appeals. And, of course, Secretary McDonough's attorney, he's asking for an extension on Collage's case, citing his workload. Man.
Oh, shit, I was going to say, that dude's that we're just talking about, Collage. He was on the
Yeah.
USS Iowa. I was like, oh, that sounds familiar. Yeah, so it's sitting in San Pedro or in Long Beach, San Pedro, and I was flying my drone around it. Like it's so illegal now, but there were no laws in 2013. I crash landed it a couple times. Like that thing sucks so bad. Anyway,
Well, yeah, the USS Iowa. It had something. Did something happen with the USS Iowa? Didn't it? Some.
yeah, it 1989 had an explosion. It killed 47 people, so he survived that. Said he
So
received about 23,000 after taxes when he took an SSB payout in '92. Filed claim. Yeah. Wow, that's fucked. Typical bullshit. All right,
exactly.
on to the attorney part.
I mean, basically, the attorney just said, due to his workload, we can't due to his workload and we can't comment on individual appeals. So they tried to get comment from the VA. All they could get was I believe the press secretary or whatever, the VA secretary. They got his Terrence Hayes says that their hands are tied, that they're forced to do it. They may be
Here's
forced to do it, but the amount and the time that it takes for them to they can either extend it out, take less money now and delay the length of it or whatnot. I mean, there's avenues they can take. They don't have to try to take all your compensation for each month up front or whatever the case might be. I mean, it's bullshit, but whatever.
here's a screen. This is worth pointing out. Uh, in 1998, still talking about the same dude. In 1998, the Board of Veterans Appeals determined, among other things, that his VA disability compensation is subject to recoupment of separation pay, among other things. So some of those other things are reducing your ass. So whether it's fair or not, that's why I talk about the 20-year rule. Once you have your disability rating for 20 years, you're safe. They can't reduce it, take it away. They have to deal with it. So that's the one you need to focus on. 5 years go by, I'm protected under the 5-year rule right now. That's whatever. I'm not feeling very protected. And when I'm like 70, I'll feel protected. So they do this, and these things are in the articles. Like, oh, our hands are tied, but we'll do fucked up shit if we have to.
So the alternative is to get a statutory change. And there's been a call to get this, to get a law enacted. But when can you ever get a law enacted by the VA? Only if it benefits the VA will they get a
Well, wouldn't
law.
that? So you're talking about a law. So we're talking about Congress, right? A statutory, like the VA
Exactly.
changes stuff, but it's like policy, and that kind of waxes and wanes, right? So we're talking about Congress actually
Correct.
going in and doing hard work, something that's going to prevent something in the future that may, it's not a popular thing.
Well, they're going to have to either introduce a law that either overrides or trumps, 10 USC 1074A is what they're going to have to do, to only take the money out of the one bucket, not the money out of both. I mean,
Project
I get
2025 comment is on the screen. Might as well, you have something to say about that, right?
I mean, Project 2025, not to get political, is something that's done by the Heritage Foundation, not necessarily attached to a particular candidate,
It's
which one
it's an
party is
idea. It's not a law or anything. It's just an idea, right?
correct. Yeah, it's wishful thinking, but I know there's one candidate in particular who wants nothing to do with Project 2025, even though the opposing party is trying their damnedest to stick it to him and have that stink.
It's getting
Where
a
they
little political. The easy solution is if you don't like a law that you hear about, go vote and get your right Congress guy in there. If you don't like the other president guy, go vote. That's what we could do to actually change stuff. So worrying about changes that haven't happened yet is just whatever. There's plenty to worry about.
absolutely,
That is a
absolutely.
statutory kind of thing. So yeah, I've seen a few comments on that, and I'm just kind of bouncing in and out here. Anything else about this? We need a statutory change. Continue on.
Um, I mean, but we've needed statutory changes for so many different things. The
Right.
chances of that happening, you know, 10, 15 years away, if at all.
Yep.
Because why would the VA give up entitlement to money that they think they deserve? That's just they look at us giving that's money that's not coming back into their doors.
Right.
So
Because
why?
they're an insurance company. They are in business, right, to keep money out of in their pockets at the end of the day. So that's one less way they could do it.
Right.
All right. Anything else more to this? And then maybe we could take a couple of comments and
Now I think that's it as far as that article. And that was done by Melissa Chan for NBC Digital News.
okay. All right. Let's see what kind of what's going on here. And we'll just take a couple of. Can you see the comments when they go on the screen?
No, I cannot.
Okay. I'll just read it to you. And yeah. Let's see. All right. So here's a good one. Discerning Dash. Cool name. Can't tell. Cool airplane. Yes. Going through the med board process right now. Have done some C&P exams. I'm anxiously waiting for results, hoping the examiners do not screw me over. So, what's your just initial reaction to that?
Um, Patience. Go to your exams. Don't flake out. If they offer you
Control
money,
what you can control.
absolutely. If they offer you money out the door, don't do it because you're going to file a claim with the VA and they're just going to recoup that money.
Yeah, yeah. This whole thing is uncomfortable. Like your mental health C&P exam, you should be fucking crying and miserable. And yeah, it's like you're literally going and torturing yourself. This whole process is about like, I'm fucked up. Money's not going to solve it, but it'll make it a little bit more comfortable. It's just kind of, and we're biased because we're the recipients. So, CNP examiner, like your story is solid. You can fight it on appeal. I would count on running into assholes and dickheads. Like you've ran into them your whole life. Changing now as you enter the VA process. It doesn't happen to everybody, but expect it, and just make sure that you know what you're doing. So when a CMP examiner does get squirrely or whatever, you go get your own doctor to submit another medical opinion, and you can clean that up in a supplemental claim. But you're in pretty good shape because people in the med board process definitely they're still unicorns. I guess they would be injured unicorns, right?
Yes. I mean, you don't need a
Still
medical opinion.
unicorns. You got rainbows all over you. You really can't fuck this up.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. The biggest thing I would say, yes, you're going through the med board, but there's also, I'm sure, nagging injuries you've had to deal with that you haven't gone to sick call for because of deployments or whatever the case might be. While you're going through that med board process, make sure you get seen for those nagging conditions because you want them documented in your record.
Yep.
Migraine
All right, I got
headaches.
another one. I got another one from Christine here. Does chronic PTSD mean static? So it can mean static, but does the VA consider that it's static? It's a mental
Not
health condition. They what?
not until the 5 year mark.
So just in general, they think mental health problem. They just lean towards mental health conditions get better. I don't know what fucking unicorn program they're on, but no disabilities get better the way I've been living my life. Uh, but you have to actually look and see if you have a routine future exam. 5 year mark is one indicator, but to find out where you are right now, you can get your VA claims file, and what you're looking for is your rating code sheet and the breakdown. And it'll tell you which of the disabilities that you're service connected for are considered to be static because it says static next to it. It's like literally black and white, unlike a decision letter that's coded and you can't tell what the fuck they're saying. Uh, so that's how you would, just because it comes out of a doctor's mouth doesn't mean that it's true or not a lie. Like this all one big pay to play game. So you want your rating code sheet, and it doesn't matter if how they tend to go or whatever. How does this apply to you? How are they looking at your situation? If you're static, then you're static.
Hey, let me take Shemp Howard's question because I can see the chat now, and
Is
he's
that farther
asking.
down the list? I don't know where that is.
Well, I don't know, but I know there's a delay here on it.
Yeah.
But
Is it towards? Oh, yeah. Okay. Is your first mental health rating that one?
yes.
Okay.
So Shemp
It's on the
Howard's
screen.
asking, is your first mental health rating at age 55 going to be static? You're walking a fine line. When you're at age 55, they're not supposed to order a routine future exam for you. However,
Not
if
supposed.
well, yeah, but if you want to file a claim for increase and that condition shows improvement, then they can still propose to reduce you. You've got to wait 5 years regardless. The only benefit of being 55 is they can't do an automatic routine future exam on you unless it's schedulally required, like if you have cancer or something like that. That's where the 55
Well,
year
not
rule.
not always, or unless they just fucking do it anyway, and then they get caught. And I've got a couple of OIG reports over the past 10 years that
True.
has examples of that.
But if they're following policy that's written, they're not supposed to. The
Why
55
follow
year old.
policy when you could just break the law? Fuck, that sounds perfect.
Agreed.
I
Agreed.
wish
But
I
I
was a
mean,
VA employee like you. I could imagine what you probably got away with murder.
I'm retired.
I said was a VA employee like you.
Well,
He's
yeah.
one of the
Luckily,
good guys.
and
Yeah,
Jerry,
so
thank you for your
55,
contribution there.
55 is an age. Is it going to be? I'm fucking 55. I'm all over the board. I've had the most enlightening year, um, probably of my life. So, yeah, I see people in my boot camp. Again, check out boot camp if you need medical evidence. Go to combatcraig.com. I talk to people, the guys that are the most fucked up now are Vietnam veterans. So 70s, late 70s, 80s, and those guys are getting fucking reduced, much less the 55-year rule. So I'm 55. That means nothing to me because I see what they do to, age doesn't mean shit. If they can claw it back, they will.
So
Any
Jerry
other
Early
comments you see?
for the super chat. He
What's that?
he Jerry Early kicked in $5 to the super chat. Thank you, and I am Raider X, so I am the guest. I don't know if you can see that in the comments. Can you see the donations?
Yeah, I can. I just not. I don't really. I haven't done this in a while. I can't multitask. But thanks, Jerry. I'll consider it. You just bought me a White Claw. All right. Yeah. So Kevin. So 3870 by itself is not really enough to live on. So that depends on where you live and your circumstances and shit. I moved from the most expensive state to a better state and then to Idaho. So I actually can live on that amount, but I don't have my bills are paid off. I don't have kids, and so everybody's situation is different. But I had to get the fuck out of California first to even consider anything. So unfortunately, it's not a sliding thing. California should probably have a whole different thing and whatever, but it's pretty much it is across the board. You get 3870 regardless of where you live.
Hey, let's
Oh,
get
look at
Mike
Mike
G.
G's. Mike G's coming up on you, and he's like, "Fuck, I'm gonna throw a zero on there and make it $50." Let's see. I can't. It's funny on these things. It says fan character jumping in the air. Like if it was on YouTube, there's some kind of happy thing going on, but I can't see it. Anyway,
It's a cheerleader on YouTube. It's a cheerleader jumping because I'm watching it. I'm watching the stream on YouTube.
oh, okay, gotcha. Good looking out, homeboy. All right. Let's see. Had a sleep study. Let's see. Let's take a stab at a few more of these. Had a sleep study done. Showed I have PLMD. What's that? Do you know? Periodic leg movement disorder. Still, what's that? Sounds like restless legs or something fucked up.
It is.
Is this filed as a nerve condition
Yes.
claim?
So
yeah, and that doesn't get automatically done. If you had a sleep study done and you uncovered another condition which is common, you need to go chase that down yourself if you want to file a claim for it. So you need a current diagnosis. They said you had periodic leg movement disorder. Was that a diagnosis, or did somebody just say it on a hunch? Right? You don't want any question there. So go to a doctor that could diagnose it and get a diagnosis, and figure out how to get that service connected. It sounds like a secondary condition to sleep apnea if he's filing a sleep apnea claim or is already service connected for it, or lots of other things. Like that's why secondary.
They diagnosed him with the leg condition instead of sleep apnea, is what it sounded like.
He went or to a maybe both. Study. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of type. Who knows? He might be on his phone, but we're just kind of lots of possibilities here. But regardless, sleep study usually means sleep apnea. You found this, cool. Does this pay? Is it worth pursuing? Not all claims are worth pursuing if we're trying to get paid. If you want to go through the motions and jerk off for another 40 years and not get paid, like I did for my first 30 years, then, low value claims is the way to go. So make sure they're worth chasing after. Thanks. I'm amazing. A thumbs up. Yep. Thumbs up help. Thanks. Barry, I have a CNP exam next month. Hopefully I can get some satisfaction from this one. So it's not, the CNP examiner is the objective that's paid for by their guy, or it's their guy. It's one part of it. It's the main part is you and your story has been changing. Do they think you're a liar? Are you all over the board and can't explain what your situation is? And you shouldn't really be explaining your situation because you're not a doctor. Go get a doctor and have them explain your situation. So that's the bulk of a VA claim. Current diagnosis and nexus, that's what gets it service connected. And then the current symptoms are where you get the rating from. So CNP examiner is definitely a factor. VA rater is definitely a factor. You're a VA rater. What do you think?
You pretty much nailed it. There's nothing more I can on
that. I'm sure your day to day they're logging keystrokes and fucking Absolutely. Production quotas and all that. So that, like, when did that start? Probably day one or what?
For that, there's pretty much been a production. I was there since 2010, and they had production standards from day one. They've got to find a way. It's the federal government. You've got bean counters everywhere, so they've got to find a way to measure what you're doing and put quantitative value to that, and make sure you're not you're part of the solution, not a part of the problem, weighing it down more so than
so. It's kind of like when you join when you get into boot camp, right? Just kind of blend in and don't be. Yeah, I showed up drunk. I blew the whistle on myself day one. When you file your claim, you have good days and bad days because you're human, right? VA raters and X-raters are human beings.
Right.
That was a robotic, non-human answer. So, like, if everything's there to prove it up, there's no hair to get standing up or like, this is fucking weird because shit. Probably, I would guess you could answer this. You probably seen some pretty weird shit, and it's like, that seems whatever whatever you say. You probably learned that things can be service connected that way, and you've actually learned that this is some kind of bullshit way. So it's all over the board. Always a learning experience.
Well, it's the same thing. Veterans talk. They say, "Oh, well, hey, I got service connected for sleep apnea secondary to PTSD." So that was a trend for a while. When initially that was right, that was traumatic denial. Now the trend is sleep apnea secondary to mental health. However, now you have to have that intermediate step of obesity. So I mean,
And
it's
these
the
trends, this is good. So not only are you a human and a disabled veteran, you're aware of forums like Reddit and all the rest of them, and you pay attention there. So not only does it trend, is it trending in front of your eyes at the VBA level, you're aware of what people talk about because you guys get out and see what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. And I hate to cut this short, but I got my thing going on here.
All right,
As
cool.
quick as this ran, let's definitely do this again. I've seen a lot of value out of this, and we had a pretty good attendance here. Um, let's see if we can do this again pretty soon. No promises, but we're gonna try to get another one of these done whenever the mood strikes.
Yep, perfect. All right, cool. Thanks for the heads up, man. All right, guys, fight, fight, fight. That's the only way to go. Get your ducks in a row, and it's all about medical evidence. I'm going to keep saying that till I can't talk anymore because it's really that simple. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.